Welcome to Ticketmaster Studios. I'm Dave Archie, Atlanta Falcon Radio Network and AtlantaFalcons.com. This is my series where I take a look at some of the top prospects in the draft that could affect the Falcons early on or maybe even later on in the draft. You know, we need some guys to go hunt the quarterback, and we're going to talk about some of the hunters in this series. This is our series on the top edge rushers. Now, I didn't include Abdul Carter. I don't think he's going to be there. I think he goes at the top of the draft. We probably won't get a shot at this guy either, but I love mentioning this dude, Jalon Walker, the 6'1", 243-pound Butkus Award winner out of Georgia. He's a multi-dimensional guy, sideline to sideline. Hopefully he's there, but if not, let's move on to a couple other guys that I think will be there. And let's start at Tennessee. Let's go to Knoxville, Tennessee, and take a look at James Pearce, 6'5", 245-pounder. 17 and a half sacks over the last 2 seasons, 28 tackles for loss for the junior from Tennessee, and he can flat close. Got great speed to power. He drives up the field and then can get engaged with an offensive tackle and drive to get to the quarterback. Sideline to sideline player, ran a 4.47 40. He's got experience rushing from all different places. Tennessee played him everywhere. Played him on the D-line with a hand in the dirt, as you see him here coming off against the tackle. Watch the speed to the inside, knife to the inside, get to the quarterback. He also played off the ball and blitz from different places. So this guy's got a variety of different ways to get to the quarterback. He's a little bit thin, a little bit tightly built, which gives you a little bit of concern out on the edge, but his speed and his ability to close is dynamic. Again, here, hand in the dirt, working against the backside. Look at him close and make a play in the run game. This is an outstanding dynamic player that I think could play all 3 downs for you. He's not just a specialist in the pass rush. This is a guy that's going to give you a great contribution. That's an outstanding player out of Tennessee in James Pearce. Let's take a look at Mykel Williams. Mykel Williams is a guy that all of you know if you watch Georgia football over the last 3 seasons. 6'5", 260-pound junior, 2-time second-team All-SEC. Over 3 years, 14 sacks, 23 tackles for loss. But his quickness off of the ball is something that jumps off the tape at you. And we talked about Malachi. I've talked about Malachi Starks. I've talked about different guys that are part of Georgia's defense. Georgia has guys that are well schooled. These are guys that go to the classroom, learn how to play the position, and this is another guy that's like that. Quickness off the ball, we talked about ideal arm length and size, excellent speed, the power. We talked about with Pearce, his ability to close and knock the quarterback on the ground from the downside or running plays down from the backside. Question mark, maybe he plays a little bit high, but 6'5", you're gonna play high sometimes. But this is a guy that's a relentless player. He was limited in 24 with an ankle injury sustained in the first game of the year against Clemson. That might have limited some of his numbers. But Mykel Williams, make no doubt, a first-round talent off the board at Georgia. Let's take a look at another guy in Mike Green. This is a guy that kind of burst on the scene this season out of Marshall. 6'3", 251-pounder. The redshirt junior was the 24 second-team All-American, but he was the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. He had 17 sacks this last year, 22 tackles for loss. You talk about a full-blast player now. This guy is relentless sideline to sideline. In fact, I think he goes so hard that sometimes he runs out of gas. But you know what? You want guys that you have to slow down. Forget guys that you have to try to speed up. This guy, you're not going to have to speed him up. He had an excellent Senior Bowl week. That was where he kind of maybe burst on the scene for some people that didn't know enough about him. He ran 4.57 at the 250-pound level. He closes fast against the run and the pass. His technique against the run, a little bit suspect. He plays a little bit high again, and he's not the biggest guy in the world, but make no mistake, this guy does not give up on any plays. He's relentless. He's after the passer. He's after the rusher. He's coming to get him. That's Mike Green out of Marshall. Let's go to College Station and check out a couple of Texas A&M players. Let's start with Shemar Stewart. Now, this guy's a bit of an enigma for me because he tests off of the charts. The size is perfect. He's 6'5", 267, A&M junior. He was 280 in some of this tape you're watching, trimmed down for the combine and ran 4.5 at the combine, had like a 40-inch vertical. This guy is off the charts when it comes to testing, and the body size is unbelievable. Ideal size and explosiveness, excellent backside speed to be able to close and make plays. His long arms, 34-inch arms, keeps people at bay to where he can knock blocks off balance, and then he can flow and make plays. How about his ability to disengage here off the tackle, flow outside and make a play on the swing screen? Just gives you an idea of the athleticism. Remember, this guy is almost 270 pounds, and he was 280 in some of this tape here, making plays there against Notre Dame. But that's Shemar Stewart, outstanding player, but a bit of a question mark as to what kind of player you're getting. We know he can play. How about Nic Scourton? Nic Scourton also out of Texas A&M by way of Purdue. Played his first 2 years as a Boilermaker, then became an Aggie at Texas A&M, and he really stood out. This was a really good Texas A&M defense. They're very sound in everything they teach. Here you see Scourton playing the run game, the zone read, comes up and makes the plays. Got really good power, plays with excellent effort, and again, the relentless energy. That's what you want. You want guys, if you're in for 40 snaps, I want 40 snaps going all the way live. If you're in for 50 snaps, same thing. If you have to come out after 30 snaps, so be it. But I want everything you can give me. That's who this guy is. Plays a little bit high in the run game, but Nic Scourton is a guy that's going to come off the board fairly early on in the draft to somebody, and they're going to be a guy. They're going to get a guy that can really play. The guy I didn't mention with a video package, but Donovan Ezeiruaku, the edge player from BC, 6'2.5", 248 pounders. Should have mentioned this guy, and I'll mention him now. ACC Defensive Player of the Year, was a first-team All-American, 16.5 sacks. He was the Hendricks Award winner, which is the top outside linebacker in the country. Fluid athlete, easy movement sideline to sideline. He ran 4.62 at 248, almost 250 pounds. So very good athlete, but a guy that's going to be available a little bit later on, maybe in the first round, maybe even into the second round. A guy who can go get the quarterback, no question about it. Let's take a look at a couple of the other guys we'd like to honorable mention here. Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. You talk about relentless motor, put his tape on, watch him go. He goes all the way live. JT Tui Molalau played for the national champion. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good a player he was. Doesn't necessarily measure all that well with all the different measurables. He's an outstanding player at 6'4", about 260 pounds. Princely Uman Mamillion out of Ole Miss. That was a really good defense out of Ole Miss. He did an excellent job out on the edge. And who could forget Jack Sawyer? Jack Sawyer makes the monster play in the national semifinal against Texas to scoop and score that ultimately pushed Ohio State in the national championship game. We're looking for hunters. We want guys that are going to hunt the quarterback. All these guys can get that done.